IoT Symposium was incredible.
Hi, this is Caroline coming to you from the TAG IoT Symposium today. We had a fabulous conference today, and we learned so much about IoT, what's going on in the space, and how many jobs it's creating here in Atlanta and in Georgia and in the United States and worldwide. 50 billion connected devices by 2020.
We're here at the IoT Symposium with the biggest sponsors in the world, with SAP, Global Payments, Intel. These guys are leading the momentum in the charge for IoT, and I want to give a great shout out to the leader of the event, Todd Peneguy. You guys have done a bang-up job of putting this whole show on, and much appreciated, much respect.
So how this all came together, I sit on 2 TAG boards, Cloud and Mobility, and last summer we're thinking about doing an event like this, but we didn't know what. You know, should we do a gala, hackathon or something? And then fast forward to November of last year, and we both coalesced on the Internet of Things. And from that point on, this thing has been absolutely on fire, something different. And as I mentioned earlier in the opening keynotes, I met a guy named Alain Louchez with the Georgia Tech Research Institute, and I learned 2 things from him that just literally changed my career. The first is that we're on the brink of the 4th Industrial Revolution, and the second one is that we're getting our butts kicked by the Germans right now, and then they're being followed by China and Japan and the rest of Europe and Asia, and America's not even in the mix. And then for the pockets of America that are actually stepping up to do this, it's not Atlanta. And from my point of view, Atlanta, look at this, right? We are the most connected ecosystem where people just give back to this community, and knowing that we're not in a leadership position, well, the goal is to change that as we move forward.
And you know, the coolest thing about Industry 4.0 is that this is the next wave. It's going to drive job growth, job creation for Georgia, for Atlanta, for the biggest companies around that are leading this effort in building the momentum. This is a call to action for the largest companies and everybody involved in IoT to push this movement forward. We're just happy to be part of this. And of course, pureIntegration is honored to be part of this event. Thank you very much for your support.
The TAG Internet of Things Symposium was fantastic. It was well attended. The speakers were great. There was a torrent of information, and you could begin to feel the energy of in Atlanta that there's a coalescence around developing this Internet of Things.
So one of the cool things was really understanding that you know, IT leaders don't always come from just an IT background. Often IT leaders also come from the creative side, right? The artistic side. So it's that blend and that combination of capabilities and skills that makes IoT unique.
You know, this vastly exceeded all expectations. You know, I give you a couple of examples. So the goal was 400 to 500 people. We had 650 registered for this event. Mission accomplished. Another great example is we, at the last minute, added a hackathon to this overall thing. We, back in January, said there's no way we could do that. But we then heard about the Things Network story and Vinky Giesman. And because of that story, we said, well, we have to have a hackathon. We threw it together in 3 weeks, and our stretch goal was 50 to 60 people. Day of, we had over 100 people registered to be a part of the hackathon. If that doesn't tell you that there's some buzz and energy around this, and that we need to jump on this train while it's hot, then I don't know what the measure is to prove the case.
I was on the toilet paper to Coke machines with Kimberly Clark, and one of the things I learned is that people say, can you spare me a square when they run out of toilet paper? That's why we have IoT in bathrooms.
I think that Atlanta is a sleeping giant, and the goal is to wake this thing up. So let me put it like this. The Internet of Things is yet another wave. It's another buzzword, right? A few years ago it was Web 2.0 or whatever the language was, right? Now the language could change in a year or 2 from now, and if we hitch our wagon to the Internet of Things specifically and the language changes, everything dies here. What the real goal of this conference is, it's about galvanizing leaders to wake up, and that has sustainability. We want to persist that over time, to position ourselves in the global stage to lead. And I think if we do that, the market is massive. IDC did a study, and they said that the global IoT market was 1.9 trillion back in 2013, and they projected it to be $7.2 trillion in 2020. That's 3.5 years from now. One of our sponsors, Cisco, did another independent study. They concluded that this market would be $14.4 trillion by 2022. That's 5.5 years. And if we can actually lead on this, imagine that we get just 0.5% or 1% of that number. That's $70 to $140 billion coming into our state's economy. It's a pretty big number.
Well, I think there is something which is obvious to all the participants, is that it was very well attended. It was well attended, but also we had a very wide range of people and also of companies and organizations that were represented here at this conference. So that allowed to have a very fruitful and productive dialogue on IoT issues. Second, of course, the themes that were today on the forefront of the conversations were education, very important, and also of course infrastructure. Education, of course, is not only just about educating the future workforce or even the current students in the K-12 system, but also it's about training and bringing more knowledge to the current employees and workers involved in different markets who are wondering what is this Internet of Things and what skills do we need to acquire in order to be ready for this transformational change.
I just saw this cool speaker talking about how they wired up Amsterdam under 4 weeks for an IoT network, and if they can do that, think about what we all can do and within our own companies in 4 weeks. So that is a goal to strive towards.
Excellent. I couldn't believe the excellent comments on the panel there around the whole infrastructure play for IoT, and here in Atlanta with Google represented, yes. SAP, our friend and local member Christian with Metrotech, lots of great stuff.
This conference is great because of the people attending and the chance you have to meet and greet, and the IoT of everything in the world is here.
So learn about this conference. Actually, we got tagged by Tag to come in and be able to help produce some content for the event a couple weeks ago. So we decided to come in and help sponsor and learn all things IoT. A little bit of stuff really around more big data and video analytics. So what we really do is help to come up with strategic video roadmaps for companies, produce the content, and then really get it into their marketing initiatives and their marketing channels. And we have an analytics platform that goes in to be able to get an understanding of what viewers are doing with the videos. So to give you a really good example, we could send out one video to 10,000 people, and we can get real-time feedback on what's going on with those 10,000 people down to the individual viewer. So it's just a quick little snapshot.
Today's event has been great. We had a number of participants covering different topics from different industries. They also outlined the importance to have governance and standards and regulations in place to help deliver this to the next level and connect Georgia to the network and to the world.
And my thoughts on the conference is that it was comprehensive and a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, because there's so many applications of the Internet of Things that it really, takes one to sit back and really figure out how you plug into this vast evolving world that these companies have presented today.
So the conference has been so far extremely well attended.
Yes.
A lot of different solutions. Okay. From cellular-based technologies with Cisco, Jasper, to build your own in your own backyard with the Internet of Things from Holland, to Sigfox, which is something in the middle, really. A lot of very interesting ideas and use cases.
So I'm excited about the future of IoT in Atlanta and in Georgia. I think this is a great platform to bring a lot of disparate groups, technologies, entrepreneurs together, and really kickstart this thing and make Atlanta a hub for this new and emerging technology.
We are at the crux of the explosion of IoT, without a doubt. all coming together. The devices are cheap, the sensors are cheap, the network is getting cheaper, and it's all around us already.
Things, particularly from the Things network, it is so quickly crowdsourcing, and they could do it in a very short span of time. That was awesome, and it's basically supercharged me to build some new things at our community, at our city, and I think so I'm going to take some things forward from there.
So in social, what we did is essentially mining the Twitter feeds, or the fire hose as they call it, to provide real-time information on the number of tweets concerning the event, number of retweets, who are the biggest tweeter, which are the biggest subjects, the hashtags that were nominated and that were mentioned in the tweets, and displaying all of that using Splunk in real time and updating it in real time on one of the dashboards.
So what numbers have you seen so far?
So it's really not a matter of numbers as much as being able to display what's happening as it's happening. So every time there is a session, for instance, we see a surge of tweets regarding that particular session and the technology that's being discussed. We see a number of, there was a lot of tweets calling for describing here the presentations as it were, the reactions of the attendees to the presentation, that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And the call to action is make IoT the centerpiece of what Atlanta's able to do best. We already lead in so many technology areas, and this is one where we're very well poised to do it again.
Yes, the best and brightest are here, great people, and of course companies like pureIntegration supporting.
Yes.